life is a journey not to miss.
Welcome to the journey of the Bliss Eye Band in 2022.
And following my bliss. Oh yeah, I'm reaching out and following my bliss.
Our journey began in 2014 with the pentatonic scale. We began with an idea by Audrey King and myself, Shirley McNaughton, that the technology of the iPad to produce music could be very beneficial to persons with disabilities. We applied for funding from the Lillian Megan and Don Wright Foundation and were successful. We applied to Donway Covenant United Church for space. We invited friends to both be members of the I-Band and to serve as supporters. And we had Andy Stark join us to provide technical assistance. Here are some of our students arriving at one of our first sessions. In an article I wrote for a church newsletter, I indicated that the bliss symbol for ensemble depicted very well what our group was, a group of people progressing forward in harmony. In that same article, I expressed what our dream was, the dream to produce beautiful music as our skills develop. We are experiencing the joy of that dream being realized every time we meet. Here are some of our early members. So, this has been a pretty exciting... Here is how Audrey and I reflected on our exciting journey.
9 months ago, I would never have dreamed that we would have been gifted this startup money from the Lillian and Don Wright Foundation to set up what we had thought about as a group of adults with physical disabilities who've never been able to play an instrument because of their disability, or even been part of a playing music together kind of group.
That's right, and when I first saw an I-Band being performed, that's only 3 years ago. These were young, able-bodied men, and I was able to take that to some retirement groups in Toronto and in Florida. But to be able to take that same kind of pleasure to people with disabilities, it's fantastic. And that my bliss folk, who I've known for many, many years, could be part of this has been extra exciting for me. As music director, I learned immediately that to realize our dream, I needed to use all of the strategies I had developed in teaching Orff music for children and the hand signs included within Kodai's method of music education. Here are 2 demonstrations of those 2 ways of teaching. The use of the pentatonic scale and of the solfege naming of the notes were demonstrated memorably by two professional musicians. Their performances on YouTube inspired us as we began our journey. Julie Andrews in Sound of Music is demonstrating the solfege naming of notes. Now we see Bobby McFerrin demonstrating the pentatonic and improvisation. We were able to raise funds for the I-Band members to attend a Bobby McFerrin concert in Toronto in 2015, our first I-Band outing. The musical goals I set for the first year were feeling the beat, improvising, listening to others as they played, communicating with each other musically, and playing together. It would take many months of work to make progress on these goals.
The Grand Old Duke of York.
At our May performance for friends and supporters, we demonstrated how we learned through reciting the Grand Old Duke of York with gusto.
Yes, sir. He marched them up to the top of the hill, and he marched them down again. Yes, sir. And when they were up, they were up. Yes, sir. And when they were down, they were down. Yes, sir. And when they were only halfway up, they were either up nor down. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yes, sir. Okay.
During our first performance for an audience, I had to demonstrate how we would present a piece by showing them that each group would play their part independently. It can be demonstrated by looking at these examples of whole note, half notes, and quarter notes, with each part being played separately, and people could listen to each other. Our end objective was that all those parts would be played at the same time and would create the blend of music that we wanted to have in our final piece. One strategy for communicating with each other musically was the town hall. Here, the host would ask questions and those in the town hall would respond. The host was guiding the communication.
The last word, close the meeting. Thank you.
The last music in this film for our beginning year is a small group meeting at Audrey's condo. We needed to put all the parts together as a small group. We were not ready to put all the parts together with the full group. You've already had a glimpse from our opening music of the group performing in 2022. Back in our first year, we needed structure in order to reach the goals I have just shared. Beginning in year 2, Aaron could introduce many new music experiences. Through his own knowledge and that of many guest musicians, he has been able to guide our I-Band through the years toward that beautiful music we dreamed of when we began.
I became the music director in 2015. When Shirley first approached me with the invitation to provide the musical leadership to this project, I was very intrigued and very interested. However, that doesn't mean that I knew immediately how to be the music director for the Bliss I-Band. So there was a lot of trial and error, and we tried many different approaches to engaging the group in music and getting them to play together as an ensemble. Sometimes we played familiar folk songs as instrumentals, with some members of the group playing melody and other members of the group playing the chords, while I conducted and strummed along on the guitar. At the peak of our in-person gatherings, the band sometimes swelled to 20 members or more, including all the helpers, the caregivers, the technical support, and myself, the music director. Sometimes we played a virtual handbell choir using church handbell apps on the iPad, where just like a church handbell choir, each member of the band is responsible for 1 or 2 notes in a melody, such as Ode to Joy, the famous theme from Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Of course, we played a lot of blues right from the very beginning. I grew up listening to and playing a lot of blues music, and it really lends itself so well to improvisation with this type of group setting. Irene in the front row here on the keyboard solo. We also experimented with a gamelan app inspired by the great gamelan orchestras of Java, Indonesia. As the band and its individual members increased their skills, we worked to expand the range of genres that they could appreciate and participate in. When I spoke about the I-Band with other musicians who I know, many were intrigued and interested in coming to jam and play with us. We had a diverse range of musicians join us for intimate performances and workshops about their particular musical languages, genres, and techniques. Just to name a few, we had Gurpreet Chana, also known as the Tabla Guy, who gave us an amazing opportunity to learn about the tabla drum language, techniques, history, and musical styles that it can play. Gurpreet also taught us about the hung drum, which is a modern Scandinavian percussion instrument that incorporates elements from several different types of percussion instruments. We were even able to find a virtual hung drum app that we could use to play hung drum sounding music with Gurpreet. We had a fantastic session with Ken McCaw, who's a fabulous musician, who successfully reinvented himself as a guitar player after he lost the use of his right hand. We had a fabulous session with Tamar Ilana, the dancer, singer, music producer, who demonstrated to us some of her flamenco dance techniques and gave us the opportunity to improvise and jam with her from her repertoire of Mediterranean folk songs. On one occasion, the singer-songwriter Jessie Teach from Arizona was visiting Toronto. She came to join us for a session and gave us an incredible opportunity to play one of her original songs with her, Curtain Call. Here we go. And to play standards like Neil Young's Heart of Gold and the classic Summertime by George Gershwin. And Sam, take it a little solo. all of these various experiences with different artists and guest artists and musical genres gave the band the confidence and built up their confidence to the point where we had a great time performing in public events such as local and international AAC conferences, as well as the largest brain injury conference in the world, the World Congress of Brain Injury, when it came to Toronto. So here from Breaking the Ice, a local AAC conference, you can hear the band playing How Blue Can You Get, a song that was made famous by the great B.B. King.
Good times never seem so good. I didn't find to believe they never would. Now I
Of course, in 2020, COVID changed everything. We took a couple of weeks off when we at first thought, like everybody else, it was going to be a 2 or 3 week pause in our activities to flatten the curve. But once we realized it was going to be much longer than that, Shirley had the foresight and the great idea for us to continue our weekly meetings on Zoom. And one of the advantages of Zoom was that it meant that geography was no longer a barrier to who could help out in the I-Band or who could participate. It allowed us to work with a wonderful music therapy intern from Tweed, Ontario, named Jessica, who joined our weekly sessions for several months and was a tremendous help to us as we adapted to the online environment. And it also allowed several members of the wider Bliss community who don't live in the GTA, who live several hundred kilometers away, to join us and become part of the I-Band. And we continued to jam the blues. And back to Ben. Back to Carolyn. Back to Ben. One more, Carolyn. To Ben. Carolyn. Take it out. Give us a good ending there. Yeah, okay. Good. After a short time of meeting online on Zoom, we decided to supplement the weekly sessions by working on non-synchronous music videos where we play music together, but one at a time by adding our voices to a music video that typically I start. When we started doing it, it was a little bit haphazard from a technical point of view, as we thought it would be a very temporary project. Little did we know we would still be at this 2 years later, and we're having a lot of fun with it though. And when we first started, it was around this time that the great songwriter Bill Withers passed away. So as a tribute to him, our first attempt at one of these non-synchronous music videos was the great song Lean on Me.
to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road, I'll share your load if you just call me. Take a little song.
very fortunate to get a grant from the Ontario Trillium Foundation Resilient Communities Fund, and we began making videos with that funding. Both music videos of our individual songs and these non-synchronous recordings, and long-form narrative videos to help celebrate various milestones in our organization, and as a keynote conference presentation. We were very thrilled to be invited as one of the keynote speakers at the Power of Music and Care conference, which was presented by the University of Nottingham and the Room 217 Foundation.
You got the intro. 1, 2, 3.
Once we realized that we would be working on in this way, online on Zoom and non-synchronous music video creation together for the foreseeable future, we made an effort to refine our technical process, and we started to grow our repertoire, expand our repertoire, and make more and more of these music videos. We worked on Dance Me to the End of Love by Leonard Cohen.
Dance me to your beauty with a burning violin. Dance me through the panic till I'm safely in. Lift me like an olive branch and be my homeward dove. Dance me to the end of love. Dance me to the end of love.
We worked on Summertime by George Gershwin.
One of these mornings, you're gonna rise and up singing. You'll spread your wings and you'll take to the sky.
In our exploration of recording music videos, we went back to an old favorite I-Band song called Take the Time, whose lyrics were written by an occasional band member, Carrie Harrington, who's a member of the wider Bliss community. Carrie wrote the lyrics, and Nancy Gibbons wrote the music. And this is an old favorite that's been sung at Bliss events for decades.
Take the time to look at me. Take the time to listen. Take the time to know me. Take the time to talk. Take the time to ask a question. Take the time for
time to listen. Take the time to know me. Take the time to talk. Take the time to ask some questions. Take the time for answers. Take the time to understand. Take the time to be a friend.
Along the way, we added another professional musician, music therapist, to our regular group, or to our band. Moshe Fisher-Rosenberg joined us as our music assistant and our occasional lead singer, and leading us also through ambient music creation. And as the band members kept improving their skills, we started also working on more and more complex songs, such as Henry Mancini's Moon River.
Moon river, water than a mile. I'm crossing you in style someday. Oh, dream maker, you heart breaker, wherever you're going, I'm going your way. Two drifters off to see the world. There's such a lot of world to see. We're after the same rainbows and waiting round the bend, my huckleberry friend. Moon river and me. Two drifters off to see the world. There's such a lot of world to see. We're after the same rainbows and waiting round the bend, my huckleberry friend. Moon river and me.
As we've gone into this exploration of music video production, we've added special guest artists from the wider professional music community by inviting them as guest artists to share their repertoire with us and for us to figure out our arrangement of their songs. So we've had Ken Whiteley.
Let's play it now.
remember back to Thomas A. Dorsey. He said, "Precious Lord, please take my hand." And I love to hear the great Mahalia Jackson and Dorothy Love Coates and Sister Rosetta Tharpe and Marion Williams and Bessie Griffin and all the great women of gospel music, yes. And Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrers, the Blind Boys, the Pilgrim Travelers, the Golden Gate Quartet, the Dixie Hummingbirds, the Harmonizing Four, they were my men. And I'll be there, yes, I'll be there in the morning. And I'll be there, yes, I will, in the night. You know there's something about that old-time gospel singing. You know it makes me feel alright.
We've had Chris White.
I've been changing the way that I see. I'm grounded and I'm feeling free. The pleasure, the pain, the sun and the rain, embracing the one who is me.
And I'm straightening my spine, balancing my mind. Life is a journey not to miss.
Breathing through to a wider view. I'm reaching out and following my bliss.
We've done a virtual jam session with my performance ensemble, Jaffa Road. More guest artists to come. We're very excited about our upcoming, just starting to collaborate with Drew from the amazing Canadian Trinidadian calypso band Cobo Town. We've got an upcoming collaboration with Mark Weinstock, a fabulous singer-songwriter who has written a song specifically for us. And there's going to be other future collaborations with other wonderful guest artists from the community who we're very excited to share with everyone who's interested in what we're doing.
When I joined the group in 2021, we started to explore ambient music. And this is largely to do with my own relationship with ambient music, my musical history. I have a lot of experience with film scores, with music for theater, with music for commercials, installation art, things like that. And so that's kind of what I've brought to the table for the group. Similar to how Aaron has such a deep and rich history with blues music, world music, and he really infuses the group with that history and with that style. And all the guest artists that we bring on board infuse the group with their own musical histories, their own musical styles. I feel that that's one thing that I've brought to the table is ambient music. My first day with the group, our first jam, Aaron had asked me to demonstrate a little bit of what I do, where I'm coming from musically. So one of the demonstrations was I just improvised some ambient music. I really didn't expect that the group would run with it the way that we have, and it speaks to just this collective embrace to grow and to learn more and more musical genres and styles. It's really inspiring to be part of a group that has such an open mind.
Wrapping up. Nailed it.
That was cool. All right, one more for Irene, then we'll try somewhere else. That was really good.
Since then, we've gone on to pursue so much ambient music. We've created original compositions like Irene's theme. We've also been working on ambient renditions of iconic, familiar pieces like our ambient rendition of Memory. We've really taken things to the next level in actually scoring this film. So all of the incidental or background ambient music that you hear in this film was written and recorded by the Bliss Eye Band. Moving forward to the future, I really would not be surprised if the band starts to take maybe even some commissioned work. Right now, all of the ambient music compositions have been, for the purposes of our films, for the purposes of the band just exploring and learning and growing. But in the future, I really wouldn't be surprised if the band was commissioned to make work for podcasts, for other films, films by other filmmakers. I see the growth, I see the potential, I see so many bright things to come. And I also see so much ambition from the group.
Listening to ambient music and hearing each person's own sound in it, I find that so exciting, that I can recognize people because their styles are all so unique. And that's exactly what I had dreamed for.
Well, you envisioned that right from the beginning. I can recall when we first met and we're discussing your vision for this whole project, the long arc of this whole project, and you said that that's something that you had hoped for right from the beginning, that people would develop their own individual, recognizable playing style, and that's a goal that I think has been accomplished for quite some time now. So yeah, it's really cool.
It makes me feel alright. Makes me feel alright. Makes me feel alright. Well, it's something makes me feel alright. Makes me feel alright. Makes me feel alright.
We'll now bring this video to a close with one of our favorite recordings, I Shall Be Released, featuring our special guest, Ken Whiteley.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. They say everything can be replaced. Say every distance is not near. But I swear I see my face. Everyone who put me here, I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, I shall be released. They say that everyone needs protection. Say that everyone can fall. But I swear I see my reflection somewhere so high up on this wall. stands a man in this lonely crowd, a man who swears he's not to blame. All day long I hear him shouting so loud, just crying out that he's been framed. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, I shall be released. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, I shall be released. Any day now, I shall be released.
The first day that Samantha came and Aaron had a one-on-one with her, and seeing the rapport and what took place, that was very memorable for me, in both with regard to Aaron and with regard to Samantha. There were just great things happening that day.
For me, the most memorable thing working with the I-Band is when, as a group, the sort of the core members sort of arrived over that really important part of the learning curve in playing music. And what I mean by that is, before that moment, we would work on a particular song for weeks, maybe, before it sounded like music. And then there was a time when we had a guest artist come. It might have been Jesse Teach, I'm not sure. In one session, we worked on the songs a couple times, and it really, really quickly came together, and it started to sound like music really, really quickly. And for me, that was like I remember the feeling of, aha, okay, these guys, they're getting it. This is fantastic. And so for me, that was like a very, very memorable part of the I-Band experience.
I think the top memory for me is when Sam, Carolyn, and Irene interviewed me for the blog. It's not a musical memory, but it was a moment where I felt accepted, taken in by the group, which is a really nice feeling for the new guy. But it also showed me that the group had so much more ambition, so many more endeavors than our weekly rehearsals. Just a really cool moment, and I was so happy to be part of this part of the group.
My most memorable moment was when I found out Ken Whiteley played with Raffi.
The Beatles stuff.
I like being in band because I see my friends.
That is going to involve my band.
You kept me to beat.
Samantha's moment was the moment I became
part
of I-Band.
My specific memory actually involves Joe and the Beatles. One time I was at Joe's place and he gave me a really mischievous look, and he went to his computer and he said, wait for it. And he played a song, and Mole of Kintyre. And we just both looked at each other for a moment and we just both burst out laughing. And the backstory to that is that we had been playing Mole of Kintyre at the I-Band, and I had told Joe that I really liked the song. But I got the feeling that he played it for me that day in his apartment in sort of a mischievous way. Yes. And I think I got that, and we just both, there was like an understanding between us, and then we both started laughing. Yeah.
Shirley gave me chance to go on a band music class. Thanks for all you. Fisher, thanks again for having me fun F.
My most favorite moment was when I first heard I-Band play at the concert. That when I decided that I wanted to join the I-Band.
My most memorable moment was when Aaron started with the group, and he had a different way of teaching us and giving help to Shirley.
When I got in the I-Band, as I loved music and my iPad.
My most memorable moment from the I-Band is when Joe Jessup and Silvano said to me, we like you because you take time to listen to us.
I'm reaching out and following my lips. My friend Shirley said, look at this. These symbols are life-changing, Chris. They give people a voice, and that makes me rejoice. I'm so glad I followed my bliss. And I'm straightening my spine, balancing my mind.